What is up, and welcome back to another episode of Footy with the Boys. Nick, I see you hot off the Champions League game wearing the Gooners kit. How are we doing today?
Feeling good, dude. 2-0 at home. Star Boys under the lights, killing it. Feeling very happy.
And Mike, you were wearing just a second before we started here a PAOK, a little Greek Super
Okay,
League action.
that's
You
right.
a big fan?
Big Pauk fan. There's only one religion in Thessaloniki, and it's not Christianity, it's Pauk. Those are the words of a wise man. Um, can't say I've watched too many games this year, but I'll support from afar.
Yeah, I would imagine. Has there been one game that you've watched this year?
I cannot confirm or deny this. I've seen some
Yeah,
highlights on
that's what I
Instagram.
thought.
He pleads the fifth.
He watched it in spirit. So any Pauk fans, feel free to subscribe. Give us a follow. But man, without going any further, we do have to talk about the game that is up on the screen right now. If you're listening to just audio, it is the 7-1 formation by Ange Postecoglou in Tottenham's 4-1 loss to Chelsea. Plenty to talk about this. Two red cards, a bunch of injuries, a bunch of everything you could possibly think of, including a plethora of missed chances by everybody on Chelsea, and they still win 4-1. Nick, it's tough to give you a question on this on just one topic. Why don't you just give me the rundown of what you thought seeing all this play out?
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's tough. It's like really hard for two teams to lose a game, and I think that's what happened in this. Like, you can't feel good about this game if you're a Chelsea fan, unless you're Nicholas Jackson, who does the C celebration after scoring a hat trick on three tap-ins, which was phenomenal. But as everyone's been saying, one more hat trick than Rashford has in 9 years. So shout out to Nicholas Jackson. And yeah, I mean Tottenham, they came out hot. Christian Romero still does not understand what defending is. Him and Martinez, not Lautaro, whatever the fuck, Lisandro Martinez on Man United. They're not actual defenders. They're just like guys who think they're bullies and then they just go reckless on everything. And Romero had to pay for it obviously with the red card. Same with Udogi. Too much heat from them and trying that weird hide line. I don't know what he was thinking. If you play the low block against Chelsea, there's no chance they break you down to like find a winner. You could have had a point. But no, the media loves it. The To be fair, his presser after was very funny. It was very good. He's like, "We could be down to 5 men. We're still gonna have a go." Well, that's great. It's also going to lose you a lot of fucking points. So, shout out to him, the darling of the media, the darling of our own host, Flags over there. But unfortunately, that tactic didn't seem to work out for him. They had about 18 breakaways. Chelsea missed about 14 of them, but they did get 4 goals. So, um, yeah, just a very, very funny game to watch. I know you were like watching it live, Tracy. What were your thoughts?
Dude, this game was shit. It stunk to watch for a variety of reasons. You would think a 4-1 scoreline is an exciting game, but the referees really kind of ruined this one, and VAR as a whole. It's been back and forth all season. Refs getting called wrong, VAR not doing what it should, and then in this game in particular, the checks were so long, they were so frequent, so many goals were called back. Uh, the red card, it is a red when you look at it, but if there's no stoppage there, like the game probably carries on. Romero makes a play on the ball, foot goes through Enzo. It happens. Um, and then Adogi got away with one early and then gets caught with a second yellow and gets sent off anyway. Chelsea could have scored maybe 8 goals. That high line was crazy, and they just kept getting through, but the finishing is so poor. Sterling looked really off of it. Jackson got 3, but missed 9 or something like that. Um, and then the game was plagued by injuries too, which you don't like to see. Mickey Van de Ven goes down with a long uh, recovery time, it seems like. I think a hamstring injury. James Madison with a knock as well. Not sure how long he'll be out. But those are huge losses for Spurs when they don't have a whole lot of depth, and they're gonna rely on a guy like Eric Dyer to come in and fill in the back. Um, I don't know what you guys think about him, but he's not that good. He's not very good at all. And then James Madison's a huge hole they're gonna be missing up there. Richarlison also said he didn't play, but he's got some fracture on his pelvic bone or his pubis or something like that. He said, and he's going into surgery too. So not looking good for Spurs. Um, but this game was awful. It was just managed so poorly from the referees, and it made a hard watch.
Spurs frauds? Question mark.
I've been saying
I
it
No,
for
don't
no, no,
2 months. I've saying it for
no.
2 months
think
and
this
no
game though you can't even say that because this game was just it was like the shittiest game of FIFA that you've ever watched where somebody put high press on and the other team just does not know how to finish. Nico Jackson, like the stats people who just look at a box score, this is one of the most impressive results that Chelsea will have. If you actually watch the game, Mike, I was watching this and I was like it was the least convincing 4-1 victory I think that I've ever seen there might have ever been. They
Oh
were
yeah,
struggling mightily against 10-man Spurs. Every single chance they did get was
9 men.
wide open. The Spurs were so aggressive, and they would absolutely sky it. They would miss it by a mile. Every touch before a cross or an actual cross was terrible. It was just Chelsea they didn't take advantage of any of it. They were almost like force-fed this win and tried so hard to not. They had like 90 chances. Nico Jackson had like 4 or 5 other one-on-ones other than the tap-ins that like a
right.
JV high school player could tap in as well.
Absolutely bottled them.
He missed every shot. He had so many one-on-ones where he like legitimately dribbled past the defender. I was like, oh wow, he's looking very calm in the box, must have some confidence, and then just do a
And
shit
they
shot. And I'm
freezes.
like, bro,
Yeah,
how? Like, how did
He
he not
almost
just smack it in from there? He was like
he
six
almost
yards
tripped
out
himself.
3 different times.
He
yeah.
almost tripped himself on that last goal. It was hilarious. He looked
Yeah. And then to end the game, it was he skied one like 80 yards above after a hat trick. I was like, that's what happens when you have an actual shot that's not legitimately a pass in. But like Mike said, this game sucked because I think 4 goals, 3 or 4 goals called back due to offsides and VAR. Just constant VAR stoppages. There was 12
So much
minutes of
interruption.
stoppage time in the first half. There was like 8 or 9 in the second half. They weren't playing much of a game. It was just so much pauses looking at VAR, and I understand that they want to make sure everything's correct because they've been so terrible at it before, but it just changed the game so much. It was so bad, and like they were letting certain offsides calls go for so long into the
Oh
next run
yeah,
of play until they called it when it's like the guy's 3 yards off. Just call it immediately on that case. It's when you're not sure. And if the AR is that unsure
right.
over 3 yards of an offsides, like, brother, get a different job. But
Exactly. Like if the AR can't make an offside call until VAR is checked, what is the purpose of an AR anymore? They're just going to stand on the sideline. Like they really have no impact in the game. Right. And then things are getting called back 30, 45 seconds later. Terrible. Um, I'm not convinced Chelsea wins against a 10-man Tottenham. If it stays to one man down, I think Tottenham sees this out, gets at least a draw. Um, that's how
dude, they should
unconvincing
have
Chelsea
seen it
was.
out with 9 man.
Yeah,
They
you
gifted
can
them
say
the
that.
game. They were just like chipping balls over for like last 30 minutes of the game. Like, this is stupid. It was bad tactics, bro. Ange like gave them this win to Chelsea. He spoon fed it to them. I don't know, like if they had like some sort of handshake beforehand. He's like, "All right, I got you at halftime," but like it was so stupid to watch. I think, to be fair to VAR, I don't think they got any of the calls wrong. The Sterling goal disallowed, maybe, but I mean, it did hit his hand. Nothing you can do about it, but. Like if it leads directly to a goal, I'm okay with it being called off. I I'm just landing at like let's go back to a time before VAR. and like
Dude, that's where I'm
I
at.
don't think
calls.
that's the solution. Because then we're
I
going to be
think it is,
complaining
bro.
about shitty calls by the refs. But what we need is VAR to be quick, and also it's so stupid that it takes 10 minutes to do an offsides call on VAR. And
Okay,
Nike
but
can just
Just
legitimately
draw the
get that
line.
technology in the ball like the World Cup, and it's like an instant, okay, yes, no. Like
they're showing us
there's so
though.
many ways to make it quicker, or make it be like a coach's challenge, so it's not taking up every single decision.
They're showing us though that if they don't take 15 minutes for a call, they're gonna get it wrong pretty consistently. So like just
You need to change the personnel, might be the thing. There needs to be a lot of reform.
that's not what's happening in the Prem. If you Anthony Taylor's back like managing the Man City Chelsea
Man
game this
City,
week.
Chelsea, yeah. After he made a shit call in the Preston
Did you see that
championship game.
call? It's so shit. Oh my god.
It's one of the worst calls you will have seen in recent memory, and that's saying something with the state of reffing.
I
That
know.
man did not lay more than one finger on him. It was a wild call, and then he immediately gets Man City Chelsea, which is just poetic at best.
Yeah, so look, I'd rather just have no VAR and let's just go back to refs doing their thing and we can complain about them. But like if it's gonna take up 15 minutes of a half every single game to get it right or like clear corruption, then let's just go back to how it was. Because what the fuck are we even doing?
What are we doing is correct. And we have two teams that might be on board with that, Nick, for our first featured game of the week. It is my featured game. It is Palmer's Mighty Wolves going up against my boy Ange Postecoglou, uh, leading the Tottenham Hotspur. They are going to have a lot of injury doubts. They are going to have two suspensions. This one seems like it could be leaning more towards Wolves if all those injuries are what we think they might be, with people being out, with the red cards obviously still standing. But I still think that Wolves don't necessarily have a a real thought that they should win this. Probably just hoping for some type of result. Nick, how do you see this one playing out?
Dude, if you're Wolves, you gotta go for it, bro. You're at the Molyneux, and like they're going to definitely fucking. I mean, they're definitely missing Van de Ven, they're definitely missing Udogie, and they're definitely missing Romero. That is three of their back four. That is like of their back four that is out. You gotta go for this at home, play for the win. Um, I don't know if they will. I think maybe that'll leave them like a little bit too open, so maybe they play more conservative. But I mean, they've beat City. Wolves have quality in that side. That front three is dangerous. So um, I I don't hate their chances. Tottenham still should have enough if they're like a serious team to get this done. But I can definitely see this being a place where they slip up.
Mike, if you could put a probability, a percentage chance for Wolves here, with all the injuries and suspensions for Tottenham, where do you put that meter at right now?
Pretty high. Yeah, the 30% win probability is probably around there, maybe higher, maybe up to 40. Um, I have no idea what Tottenham's back line is going to look like. No starting left back, neither of their starting center backs.
I
Um,
think Ben
in
Davies
the
is
game
still
against Chelsea, like they had Emerson
there.
Royale and Eric Dyer playing center back together. Like that makes Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire look like an elite center back pairing. So yeah, if it could be better for Wolves' perspective to play Tottenham um, with all the people they're going to be missing. If James Madison is missing, that mean that hampers their attack as well. So I think it's pretty close, but Wolves did just lose to Sheffield. Um, they should have
Hey,
drawn the
shut the
game.
fuck up, guy.
That penalty was a terrible call, but still, that's not a convincing performance against what I think is the worst team in the league.
We're the glass cannon of the league, bro. These are the ones we win.
Well, Glass Cannon can
Well,
only fire once, and they beat Man City already. So
Fuck you.
yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see how this one pans out with a streaky Wolves team and a Tottenham team that has been pretty decimated here. We've talked a lot about if they do want to be title contenders and really are serious about it, depth will be an issue. We'll see how that plays out in this game with a good test for a rotated and hurt Tottenham side. But going to the man that we have spoken so much about, Anthony Taylor, now reffing probably the biggest matchup of the weekend. It is Mike's featured game. It is Chelsea versus Manchester City. Chelsea coming off a big 4-1 win over the league leaders Tottenham. Can they do it again against the now lone league leaders in Manchester City? Mike?
No, dude, they're about to catch a Erling Haaland size backhand to the face, slap back to reality right here. It's gonna be a fucking slaughter. That's my prediction. I've been a proponent of Chelsea. I think they have a few good things going, but Man City's in the form. They're a much better side. And how bad Chelsea looked against Tottenham makes me even more confident that City just takes this one easily.
Yeah. Nick, you would think that being clinical is a requirement to beat Manchester City because you're not going to have that many chances against the way they play. Chelsea are quite opposite of clinical, but is there a chance that Nico Jackson, inspired by a hat trick, can turn around his game and his finishing to give Chelsea a chance here?
Their biggest chance is going to be like a fluky goal, kind of like what we saw in the Arsenal game. So, like if Mudryk can bend a crossbar down like accidentally, then maybe. But I don't know. I honestly think like this game's going to be close. But Man City, I think Chelsea's going to lock it down. I think they're going to try to play like pretty defensive football. Um, but I think City's just gonna have enough eventually to break them down in the second half. And then the floodgates are just gonna open. So hopeful that Chelsea can maybe get a point or three at home here against the league leaders. But I don't know, man. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I would be pretty confident in Manchester City just essentially having a training ground exercise here of just attacking nonstop. I think Chelsea's going to sit back, and if they do get into the attack, I wouldn't trust Mudryk, Jackson, or Sterling to really make anything worthwhile on the other end. But now we go to another team that has recently dropped a bit, but still in that title charge. It is Nick's Arsenal versus a team that is not making any type of charge. It is Burnley. Arsenal versus Burnley here. Nick, what should we expect from this? What do you want to see from your side?
Uh, yeah, I mean, it should be a pretty easy outing. No disrespect to the fellas over at Burnley, but maybe Trossard started today in a big victory. He looked incredible in that front three. I fully expect him to be benched because Arteta has some weird love affair with Eddie Nketiah. But this is the kind of game where Eddie shows up pretty well because he's just better than championship kind of player. So it should be Arsenal pretty easily here. I like them scoring early. And I like them winning big. I'll say like 4-1.
4-1. Okay. Mike, do you see it as that big of a difference? Is it a 4-1 situation, or what are you putting that score at?
Yeah, it's something like that. A lot to a little. I hope to see some squad rotation from Arsenal. Rest a few dudes, let a few guys get some minutes. Maybe Nelson gets in there. I think Smith Rowe's still hurt. Is that right, Nick?
Yeah, Smith Rowe, Party, Timber, Odegaard, Jesus, all still out.
Okay. Yeah, so that limits your options to rotate, but
Forced rotation then.
you got a few guys that will go in there. Um, I don't see a chance for Burnley here. I really don't.
We're gonna save that clip just in case, and Nick, you can blame Mike on that one if it turns sour. But I do think Arsenal, especially after a disappointing result versus Newcastle, with all that going around them, coming back, having a good response in the Champions League versus Sevilla, I think they keep it rolling here. They have a reason to keep that momentum moving, and obviously it's such a tight title race. I don't think any of these top teams are going to be going into games, even against somebody like a Burnley, where we are saying it should be a multiple goal win. Don't think they go in there thinking it's going to be easy. But going into a team that maybe thought a game today in the Champions League would be easy, it is Manchester United versus Luton Town. Manchester United, we have talked so much over this podcast about how they've been so unconvincing, how they are sneaking out results. It looked as if they were going to sneak out a result versus Copenhagen today after a red card to Marcus Rashford. They end up losing it. They were up 2-0. Then it was 2-2. They go up off a penalty in the 69th minute. Sweat off the brow. But no, after the 80th minute, 2 goals by Copenhagen to take a 4-3 win in the Champions League and leaves a very tough road for Manchester United to get out of this group with Galatasaray at home and Bayern Munich standing in the way of them getting out of the group. This is versus Luton, but Man U has not looked convincing in any game. Is this the game where they can get some type of multi-goal win that makes people believe in them rather than these sneaking out results and now obviously fumbling over that result in the Champions League? Mike?
Yeah. Obviously lost to Copenhagen today, but they got screwed. That is never a red card. Never ever a red card. That's so poor. And how long the check took, like where's the intent? I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't understand it at all. And then the penalty call against Harry Maguire, like what the fuck is that? Like, yeah, it hits his hand. It's in a natural position. He's got a defender on him. So 2 terrible calls against Man U. They still made it close. And then Rooney, not Wayne,
Rooney.
but the 17-year-old on Copenhagen, puts the nail in the coffin. But yeah, they have enough quality to beat Luton. So I think they take care of it. Hopefully they could find some goals and a little bit of a cohesion up top. Marcus Rashford really stinking it up right now, so he could use something for his confidence.
Yeah, definitely need some confidence. This was a game that even the team we were just talking about, Chelsea, who has struggled with attacking, were able to find a lot of goals. Nick, do you think this can be a similar springboard for Manchester United after such a disappointing result to come out strong and really needing a result against a lower side and potentially give them the result that they're looking for?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Luton's coming off a result themselves. They got a point versus Liverpool, which got to like make them feel a little bit confident. I don't know how Man U's feeling any sort of confidence at the moment. I guess Højlund scored a couple today, so maybe that gives them a little bit of a boost. But um, yeah, I just can't trust Man U. I won't until they turn their form, if they turn their form. But like we've said a lot, they've been squeaking out results today. They probably would have been able to squeak out a result if it wasn't for some pretty shitty refereeing. Although to be fair, Copenhagen's penalty that Fernandes scored was also pretty stupid. Like that was a bad call. So yeah, I don't know. I think I trust them to beat Luton. And the fact that I have to say I think I trust them to beat Luton is an indictment of itself. Because like, what the fuck? Luton is horrible. Um, yeah, but Luton's so bad, guys. So we'll give Man U the victory at Old Trafford.
If Luton can do it versus Liverpool, you'd imagine they could do it against Manchester United, who does not have close to the attacking prowess as Liverpool at the moment. I think this is a big game for them, and it's a really sad thing to say that Manchester United versus Luton Town is a big game, but they need something so desperately to bring this club
Oh, it
up
is.
with a big result. And this seems like a perfect opportunity. If they squander this to a 1-0 win, a 2-1 win where they're squeaking it out, I just don't know if there's any game that I would have faith in Manchester United showing class in. I hope that they win this one by a good amount of goals so they can have some bit of confidence going into some other fixtures coming up. But now to the team that Luton did draw last weekend and got the result. It is Liverpool, who obviously in that same result dropped points in their title race. currently sitting in third on the same points as Arsenal, and they're going to be playing against Brentford, a team that has been very hot as of lately. I think this one could be a dark horse game where Brentford can really make some noise here, but Liverpool, coming off a draw, are going to want a result. Mike, how do you see this one playing out? Do you think Liverpool respond well, or do you think Brentford keeps their hot streak to a fourth game, one in a row?
Brentford's playing some good ball. A big win over West Ham last weekend with 3 goals. That's great. But I do think Liverpool has too much quality for Brentford. Um, they drew against Luton. They kind of did it to themselves. They missed a lot of chances. Darwin Núñez, in particular, um, should have had at least one, probably two. Um, so I think they could figure that out, find the goal, and I think Brentford will struggle with Liverpool's back line quite a bit stronger than uh, the competition they played the last couple of weeks, where they did get results. So I think it'll be a good game, but I give it to Liverpool.
Nick, you've always been a big proponent of how Liverpool's playing and their aspirations. This would very much so be a game that you'd chalk up as a win if you're thinking them at that way. Is that how you're seeing it right now?
Yeah, honestly, if they had beaten Luton last week, I'd feel like this is more of a trap game. Like bees are buzzing, they're in good form. They like to play on the counter. Wisa and Mbomo are fucking pacey as hell and are good finishers. So like, kind of sets them up for a perfect counter-attacking kind of game. Um, and like they have a nice back line. Pinnock is really good. Nathan Collins is really good. Rico Henry's a solid player. So, I mean, it's the fact that they dropped points last weekend. It feels like they're gonna fucking murder Brentford just out of pure revenge. You know what I mean? So, sucks to be Brentford this week. I think because they're on a good roll. I like the form they're in, but you got to go Liverpool.
Yeah, I definitely think Liverpool takes. I think Brentford has been a little inflated by who they've played. It's Chelsea, Burnley, and West Ham that they've gotten these results against, which decent sides,
Bad results.
but against Liverpool, I don't think that's in the same bracket, I would say. But that does round up our top six. Now, for the rest of the Premier League, we start with some toffee time. It is Crystal Palace versus Everton. And I think this is as maybe as boring to a neutral as it might be. I think this is a very good test for both sides to see exactly where they are. I see these as pretty similar teams. Mike, as a toffee, are you seeing it the same way? Or are you thinking maybe this would be an upset if Everton did get a result?
Yeah, I mean it would be an upset. We're still not quite in that tier with Crystal Palace or even West Ham. I think we're still a little bit below, but we've been in really good form and we've been playing better football. Kind of finding a strategy that works for us, and 11 that works for us. Not a whole lot of rotation the last couple of weeks. Dyke has the guys out there that he wants and he trusts. Um, and a win against West Ham and a good tie against Brighton where we could have won that game um, gives me a lot of confidence. I think we can get a result against Crystal Palace, um, but definitely not easy. I think this is a pretty evenly matched game. I think it's one of the more competitive games of the weekend. Um, Boring for a neutral for sure, but if you need something to watch, tune in for this. You could find a worse game.
Nick, you are a neutral, but if you were to watch us, what would you be looking in for to see from both sides? What's the excitement points for you watching?
For Everton is I think like can this starting 11, like Mike said, that they're kind of starting to find their players. Like, can they keep it consistent? They're playing good ball right now. A couple good results. Even that Brighton draw, I think, was a really good result for Everton. But especially that win against West Ham was huge. So yeah, I think you got to be like pretty happy with the way that they're playing and just hoping. Honestly, what's Onana, guys? Is he injured or is he just not
Yeah,
playing?
he had an injury last weekend, but he should be
Okay,
back.
because right now the biggest weak link is in the middle of the park, and it's a Drew Gay. I don't know what the fuck that guy brings to the like team. Honestly, he is horrible. Like he can't run anymore. I guess he's like an
He's a little washed
experienced guy
up.
out there. Yeah, I don't know. So,
His first
um,
stint at Everton was a lot more impressive. I'll give him that.
yeah, I have not enjoyed watching him, and I think if it's Crystal Palace, it's like, can Eberechi Eze break down this extremely like hardworking, fucking industrious Everton team? Because Everton's gonna work their socks off under Sean Dyche. That's his MO. Those wingers like just puffing for air by probably the
Uh,
60th minute with how much they track back. So it's gonna take. I think it's gonna take a moment of real quality, and that's kind of been the question mark around Crystal Palace. Do they have enough of those moments? Because their back line is solid. I honestly can't see Everton scoring in this game. I honestly kind of like a 0-0 draw, but if like Everton can keep that same starting 11 and hopefully like get an Everton style goal off a corner or off a rebound or something, they could get the result. But I think it really comes down to Eze and whether or not he has the quality to pull Crystal Palace across the line here.
Yeah, I'd be good with a 0-0 draw. Any points are good points for Everton. Just draw them as far as away from that relegation battle as you can until we can really say we're fighting for a mid-table spot. But now we go to a team that is also in a relegation battle and a much more dire one. It is Bournemouth, and it will not get any easier as they face a Newcastle team that, in the league, coming off a big win, quote unquote, against Arsenal. Obviously, some controversy surrounding it, but nevertheless, a big 3 points for them. Just got smacked by Dortmund a bit in the Champions League, but you'd imagine there's a lot to be scored here for a team that got an 8-0 win versus Sheffield. Seeing a Bournemouth team, are we thinking there's any other storyline here for Bournemouth to somehow pull something out, Nick?
Uh, Fuck Newcastle. I'm very happy they lost today. They've been such bitches in the media after that game.
Yeah, fuck those
Um,
guys.
yeah, seriously. So, I saw Gamerish kind of, I think he was like crying, like after the loss of the Champions League. Good for you. You're a bitch. But either way, no, I'm not gonna do this to myself. I told myself I'm off the cherries. I'm staying off the cherries, even against Newcastle. Um, they have enough quality. They should win. Bournemouth sucks. I'm gonna keep telling myself Bournemouth sucks until it sticks in my head.
I want them both to
Mike,
lose.
yep, well, like a draw.
That'd be awesome.
Mike, this
Yeah,
seems like a just a gulf in class and form at the moment. Do you think
it
there's
is.
any other storyline here to watch out for? Or do you think it's just as simple as that?
Yep, there is a little bit of a storyline. Newcastle is very depleted right now. Ton of injuries, missing players, crucial players at that. Sven Botman has been out for a while. Dan Burn on the left back, and then I mean Isak's obviously still not there. Tonali's not going to be playing in the midfield anytime soon, and Murphy as well with a shoulder injury. So like the list goes on and on for injuries. There's a ton of them and tired legs. They're not getting a whole lot of rest. Eddie Howe talked about it. I think it was a little bit of an excuse to lose against Dortmund because Dortmund's not getting any rest either. They're playing Bundesliga games every weekend. Um, but that's the one bright spot for Bournemouth, I'd say, is what 11 is going to come out here. I think the 11 that Newcastle puts out, whoever it is still going to be too much for Bournemouth to handle. But it's not going to be Newcastle's strongest team, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think Newcastle, even not at their strongest, do have a golfing class over Bournemouth, and especially with the way they've been playing, might not be pretty for the Cherries. But going to another team that's on a similar level as Newcastle, but I don't feel that much faith in. It's Aston Villa, and they're facing Fulham this week. They had a very disappointing result, 2-0 loss to Nottingham Forest, where it just seems like Aston Villa, every time they have it figured out, try and remind you that no, the fuck we don't. Uh, they do not like to be consistent against the lower sided teams. This is exactly the type of team that Nottingham Forest is and that they've shown they struggle against. Is this a team that slides 2 games in a row, or are they just that inconsistent performer where that Nottingham Forest game is more of an outlier rather than a trend? Mike?
Dude, yeah, I don't know. I was so confident they would beat Nottingham. Like wasn't a doubt in my mind that Villa was going to get a result here, and then they lose 2-0, and weren't very convincing. Like they didn't have a whole lot of chances to make it seem like they could have won that game. And Fulham's pretty equal to Nottingham from a quality perspective, I think. So I think Villa would bounce back. Like that's what my intuition would say. They've done that this season quite a bit. Bad performance, good for Bournemouth, vice versa. So it seems like that will happen. But if you're Fulham, you see the result from last weekend. You think you can get a result here. I think they'll go in expecting to at least get a draw.
Nick, do they bounce back, or we are at that time of the season where we start to see some teams slide back into their former self? Do we see the slide or the bounce back here?
Jade, I'm sorry, I'm still thinking about Mike saying vice versa.
You noticed that too, bro?
What
He's
I think
like
about this
he's
game?
fucking pulling out the Latin for that, bro.
Might have to.
Yeah, no, I think Villa will win. Let's not forget though, Fulham did outplay Man U last weekend, even though they lost that game. But I mean that's not saying too much. So um yeah, Villa better quality. I hope they lose because it'll just further prove that they're nowhere near this top four race. So they have the quality. Let's see if they can do it.
Yeah, you would expect it, but as we've learned with Aston Villa, expecting is the worst thing you can do with Aston Villa. And we go to another team that has somewhat faltered as of late. It is Brighton, and they will be playing Sheffield. You'd hope this is their turnaround. They have 0 wins in their last 5. I've said that before, and it continues to be the case for Brighton. They have slid a bit down the table here after all these bad results, but it's against Sheffield. Sheffield, who just got their first win. Is this the end of the skid for Brighton? You would hope, right, Mike?
Yeah. Yep. I think Brighton lights them up. Brighton had some good attacking football against Everton. Like it was evident, and they just couldn't really get it done on the final pass or the final shot. But they're too much for Sheffield to handle. Sheffield beat Wolves, but Brighton's still quite a bit better than Wolves are. Um, I'll be interested to see who the hell De Serbi starts. Like that lineup changes so much. Uh, we need to see Ansu Fati start a game. Like I don't know what he's waiting for or what he wants to see. Hopefully it's this game, and I expect Brighton to win by a wide margin here.
Nick, what's your preferred front three for Brighton? Is it an Ansu Fati in there, Ferguson, João Pedro, Andigra? Who is it?
Go Matoma on the left, Ferguson down the middle, and Fati on the right. Although I do think Solly March is a really good player. But I think Fati's kind of shown he's got levels to him. So,
Probably hurt right now too.
oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Then yeah, definitely Fati on the right. So that'd be my preferred lineup. Honestly, feels like a Danny Welbeck game for Brighton. Feels like he's gonna start. And I don't know who it's gonna be, if it's Welbeck or Ferguson or Pedro or even Fati at the 9. I like whoever their striker is to get at least a brace against this Sheffield team. This is the perfect time for this game to come to Brighton. A little bit of a get right game. Brighton, a lot to little.
Lot to a little.
A lot of
My new favorite
Uh,
phrase.
we move. We move to a team that also has been having quite the slide in form. It is West Ham. They have lost 3 in a row. Oof. They're coming up against Nottingham Forest, who they now find themselves directly above in the table, just 1 point separating them. Not what we thought we might be saying about West Ham before this 3-game skid, as they had so much promise. This becomes a pretty even matchup. I still think West Ham, based off their form at the start of the season, they should win. But is that an accurate thought process, Mike? Are they the favorites here, or is this even, you think?
It's a prove it match for West Ham for sure. They need to prove that they're at least somewhat legitimate. Um, which they have not looked at recently. And I think it is pretty even. I think you're right about that. West Ham still like levels above from a quality perspective for the players they have. Like look through that Nottingham midfield, really no notable players. There's a lot of lack of quality there. Up top, it's a little bit more even. And the back line for Nottingham it's sneaky strong, where West Ham's like super leaky recently. So I kind of expect goals on both sides, but I think West Ham can get back on track here.
Nick, you have been a proponent of West Ham even through this slide down the table. Is this where they stop the bleeding, or are they looking at a fourth consecutive loss in a row?
Dude, I think Nottingham's midfield is actually sneaky better than you think. They're like, specifically Sangare and Mangala, like they are physical, dude. Like they are beasts. They might not have like final ball capability,
Yeah,
but that's not really the kind of game they play. You know, they're more like just boot it and run. So, um, it's gonna be a hard game for West Ham. I don't really like Jared Bowen. I think this back line though on Nottingham fucking sucks. It's like up there for it's like championship level in my opinion. Honestly, I do not think it's a good back line. And, I like Niakate, but that's just about it. I like Jared Bowen to do something nasty to him. So it's in London. It's at the Hammer Stadium. I'll give it to West Ham, but Mike's 100% right. If they don't get back on track this game, I am done taking them seriously as a Conference League challenger or Europa League challenger.
Yep,
I
I
agree.
said they would bounce back against Brentford. They did not. They have to
Do
be
we
due at a
see
certain point. We've
Flag? Do
seen
we
who
see
they
Matty
are.
Turney? Matty Turner back in the sticks, or what's happening there?
I don't think so. I think we're going to see their new signing, the Greek goalkeeper. So I'd be fine with West Ham putting five behind him, and all of a sudden Matty Turner gets his spot back.
Come on.
Uh, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I don't trust Nottingham Forest's defense to really make that goalkeeper's stake to the claim very easy, as they did not make it too easy for Matty Turner either. That wraps up our preview for this week. Now into the U.S. men's national team corner. Nothing too crazy this week, other than Milan getting a massive 3 points versus Paris Saint-Germain. 3 points against them in a 2-1 victory. Giroud getting the header, which was the winner. Pulisic, though, came up with an injury in the 90th minute. The 90th minute of a game that he was questionable to start in due to a hamstring issue. So not good to see him going down with the hamstring, but they said it was just a cramp in a problem area, listed as day-to-day currently, so should be at the very minimum available for the US's Nations League team coming up. That roster will be announced Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. And then we go to Netherlands with our other update. PSV get a win versus Lons. They have been in some very hot form. Des has been starting almost every game. Tillman came off the bench in this one, and Pepe got in for a short cameo at the end as well. Now, that was the US. It was a quick update, but we get into our locks of the week. And this week we have some pretty big score lines here. But first, let's go through some scores, as I know we had some incorrect predictions last week.
Yeah, y'all had a rough week
What?
here.
Oh,
Starting with
whoa,
yours,
y'all.
you predicted
Who's y'all?
3-0 Liverpool to Luton. I predicted that Wolves would beat Sheffield. What were we thinking? Us idiots.
I should
And
have fucking known as soon as
What do we know?
Flags backed Wolves, honestly.
Oh, yeah,
Just as soon,
100%.
just as soon as we ban
that is
picking
true.
against the bottom three teams, they let us know that they're not to be trifled with. They're in the Premier League for a reason. And apologies to Luton, apologies to Sheffield. I was not familiar with your game.
Are you gonna apologize to
Not
Bournemouth?
familiar with the game.
I will not apologize to Bournemouth because they got dicked on, even more so than Nick predicted.
Yeah. Well, Jeremy Doku had something to say about that game there.
What a game for him.
And Nick was the only one picking up points last week. It was the first time that Mike has dropped points.
Idiot.
And now this week, we get into it without any bottom 3 games in terms of no Burnley games, no Sheffield games, and no Luton games allowed. We have already relegated them. Now then, Mike, you just got your first one wrong. This one, some would say, is potentially a spicy pick. What are you seeing here?
Yeah, I'm taking the marquee matchup of the weekend. I'm gonna take the City Chelsea game, and in favor of City, 3-0 is my prediction. Wanted to go 3-1 with a Cole Palmer penalty from Chelsea, but I just don't ever see them getting anywhere near City's box. So it's going to be hard to score a penalty when you can't get into the 18. 3-0. And
I like it. 3-0.
Erling Haaland will get a goal. Why not?
That is
You heard it here
what a
first.
hot take, Mike. Say Erling Haaland gets a goal.
I know
He's really
ball.
put one out there, guys.
Mike,
Nick,
what is
you have it.
for getting in the box?
Say that again.
What is your own personal strategy for getting in the box?
Stay on side and run faster than the defender who's marking you.
So would you say you're a big box guy?
Love the box.
Nice, good. That's what I've heard.
Yeah. Me and Roddy Rich, big fans of the box.
All right,
Yeah,
I'm gonna put a plug in that combo.
That was
And
fucking
Nick,
stupid.
let's get to your lock and stop talking about boxes.
I
Nick,
don't
you
know,
have
man.
one that I think is
Palmer loves boxing.
our most interesting pick
I'm a
and
boxer, bro.
lock so far this season. What do you got?
Dude, sometimes we just need help getting in the box, bro. Come on. Just
Bro, I can
pour the
coach you
boys
guys
on.
how to box, bro.
Secret to the box.
My lock is gonna be a tie. I don't know if we've done ties yet on lock of the week, but I feel like I should get extra points if I
I
fucking
feel
get a
like
tie right.
that should be 3 points if you get a tie right.
I'm so down for that.
Get
Either
outta
way,
here.
either way, it's like I don't know. I had Arsenal Burnley and I forgot that we relegated those teams last week. So going Palace won, Everton won. That game has draw written all over it.
Love it.
That seems all right as well. That seems like a pretty accurate scoreline. I could definitely see it. And for me, I went with Liverpool. It's their bounce back game. No traps. It is Liverpool 3 putting up some goals and Brentford getting one on a cheeky counter. Just think Brentford not going to be able to take Liverpool with a vengeance this week after a poor draw versus Luton. But yes,
Me
we
too.
will see about the bees if they are buzzing this weekend. It'll be a true buzz test. But we get into the segment that made our most controversial debate of our podcast last week. It is Producer P's one question. Palmer, take it away.
All right, boys. This is a big time footy question this week. Okay, this has got all the stakes on it. All right. In all the world, in all the teams, in all the games, in all the fucking leagues, which football player do you think is most likely to date a Kardashian?
Dele Alli.
That one is not totally.
It probably would be. He's
Dele
already
Alli.
dating an influencer.
Dude, I have like severe mental health issues right now. This is not nice.
Yeah. Dele Alli, mate.
Spell his name, bro. That tracks.
It's also just not that cute, bro.
Delealli, I think. Don't even know if he's still playing football.
Dele
There
Alli.
he is.
What are you talking about? Dude, he's at Everton.
Is he
He's
still?
employed
We
by
still
Everton.
own him?
Yes.
Is he still loaned out to Turkey somewhere?
No.
No, right now he's working on his mental health, and Sean Dyke has commented on it a lot of times recently.
Oh, well, get back strong, mate. I hope you find your form again.
Yeah, he was someone special.
A 2017 Dele Alli at the 10 right now would be fucking gravy for Everton. I'd love to see that. Maybe he should date a Kardashian. Maybe that's what he needs.
Dude, that's what he needs.
He's dating a very famous influencer right now.
Yeah, Cindy
You would
Wolfie
know
or something
that.
like that. Yeah.
Something. No,
I
I
know my
just
player.
remember in that interview he talked about his girlfriend, and it was like a well-known name.
Yeah, Cindy. Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah. Okay. Nick, who do you have?
Dude, I don't know. I feel like it's got to be either someone American or British. Maybe Declan Rice, a good-looking guy, funny, got some banter.
You think Declan Rice is dating a goddamn Kardashian?
Who's dating
Come
a
on, Dex.
Kardashian, bro? Listen,
Bro,
what's her face? Kim and also Kendall have both been to Arsenal games. They see this strapping young lad dominating the
this
midfield.
is the guy that they'd be going for.
This is the face of the Kardashians
Dude.
next fucking poll.
What
I
about your
don't
star
know,
boy?
bro.
The worst answer.
What about your
You
star
think
boy,
it's
Nick?
Dele Alli? That guy looks like an idiot. What are you talking about?
Dude,
Bro,
he's got an
Dele Alli
esoteric
compared
look.
to this guy is night and day.
Are you serious?
This
You're
dude looks like
just
flags,
racist
bro.
towards your own people.
Bro, what the
You're just
fuck?
racist. He looks exactly like your ass, bro. What do you mean?
Oh,
I'm out
man,
here trying
bro.
to dish
Bro,
compliments, and you're just
no,
being
no.
an
Oh,
ass.
it's got the same
Damn,
face.
dude. I can't help you, Flags. They turned on you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is fucked right here. I don't know what's going on. I don't condone this. I feel like
The easy
Lukaku,
answer, though.
he's already dating Megan
Neymar is probably the
Stallion,
easy answer.
and it seems
Uh,
like
yeah.
he'd be a good pick.
Big
Ooh,
Rome.
yo, I changed my pick. Giroud. I'd go Giroud.
Who?
Good looking
Olivier?
guy.
I don't think Giroud would deal with that shit. I think
How the fuck do
Giroud's
you
a little
spell
too.
that?
He also has a.
Giroud.
Giroud. Olivier.
Okay.
Olivier.
Dude, he's all jacked
Oh
up.
yeah,
gorgeous.
that's the fucking yep. That's the one.
French.
Look
Oh
at him,
my
dude.
God.
He's a handsome
I just
The
stallion.
don't think he
frosted
would deal with
That's
tips,
a
the
bro.
Kardashian
With the frosted
shit,
tips.
though.
The stallion.
Oh, this guy.
I
Look
think
at
you
him.
need to go with a guy that's a bit of a mess, like a Lukaku that
Yeah.
is used to the attention.
Like, oh my god, his accent is so hot.
There's also some rumors about Lukaku, according to a couple songs here and there. So maybe you're right. Lukaku's pretty effective in the box, I must say. I think.
All right. We are ending the podcast there. We are not allowing Nick to go any further with that. Until next time, make sure you like, subscribe, do whatever you want. It's a free world. We will see you with the reviews of all these games next Sunday. Peace.
Later.
Up the wolves.